Zombie Apocalypse.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This is 6 Scale Economist. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Spider-Man from Far From Home upgraded suit. As always, first we're going to talk about this figure from a collection perspective, and then we're going to talk about it from an investment perspective. Spider-Man, MCU, love these, love this figure. Excellent figure. I also love the Far From Home movie. I like Far From Home and Homecoming actually a lot. They're actually my favorite of all the different Spider-Man movies that we've seen. It's my favorite. I love Tom Holland in that role, and absolutely love this figure. But we're actually going to switch it up for the orientation of this figure. I actually want to talk about this figure first from an investment perspective, because I think that this is something really interesting that we've seen lately. Spider-Man is a volatile figure. The Spider-Man Homecoming Deluxe at one point was like pushing $500, and then it kind of crashed all the way to like $330 during like the lows of Marvel that we saw like 2 months ago. And as the resurgence has happened for Marvel, and Marvel's back in the spotlight with all these Endgame figures coming out, I'm going to pull this up. Spider-Man leads the charge. This is a volatile figure. This is a volatile character that can really go up and down a lot. And as you can see, like sorting this by most recent time, like just 2 days ago, a brand new version again is selling at $550. There was a bidding recently, this one on July 8th, closed at $450. And bids are, auctions are usually a good representation of how figures are actually performing in the secondary market, because sometimes you can see buy it nows get lifted at a really high price. But the fact that this figure went for $450 pre-owned, it's basically back where it was when it was at the highs. And this thing traded as low as $330 in Facebook groups just 2 months ago. And if you scroll down a bit, I'm sure you'll see some $300 a pre-owned. Scroll back even further, you see this trended lower, $330 on May 15th. This is probably the bottom for this figure, and now it's just all the way back. So this just shows the support, how supportive this figure is from an investment perspective. This figure is a good investment, and although it's volatile and it can really trend down a lot, Spider-Man is so iconic that anytime, and such a favorite character of the Marvel universe, anytime you see Marvel take a dip as a whole, the way to look at it in finance is systematic risk as opposed to idiosyncratic risk. Systematic risk is when the entire market, shifts down. And so that's when you see Spider-Man go down with the entire market of Marvel, and it goes up as well. But when it goes up, it tends to outperform other Marvel figures, as it's rising. And I think that just speaks to the fact that this figure doesn't have much idiosyncratic risk. It doesn't have risk in it of itself for being a Spider-Man figure. It actually is an outperformer when the Marvel market as a whole starts to trend upwards. So I love this figure from an investment perspective. It's a unique look. It's probably one that we're not going to see again. I imagine Spider-Man might have a different look in the new movie, and the fact that you get Spider-Man in this black look is just fantastic. And I think this figure is going to do very well from a secondary market perspective. Anytime Marvel's in the spotlight, this figure is just some Iron Man figures are the ones that lead the charge for Marvel market overall going up. All right, so now let's jump into it from a collection perspective. I have the Spider-Man Deluxe, figure right next to me. I love this look of Spider-Man. I think this is, a very similar look, obviously, just black instead of blue. And I think that it's one that a lot of people are going to add to collection, even if they already have the Homecoming version or the promo version where has the blue look. Obviously, the big problem with this figure is that he's not very posable, but I found ways to get around it. I don't mind just having him in a movie pose. I'll have the homemade suit to pose the crap out of. So it doesn't totally blow. It doesn't totally suck that you can't really display this figure, but a lot of these poses that they have him in are you can't do these. You can't leave him in this pose for that long. He's just going to rip too much. But even the accessories that he comes with, it's awesome that he comes with this phone. But bang, this is huge. He comes with a Tom Holland head sculpt. The Homecoming version does not come with the homemade suit does not come with a Tom Holland head sculpt for Far From Home. That's something that's going to be very supportive of this figure. People love, the Tom Holland head sculpt. I know I do for my version. And so that's another reason why this figure I think is going to do very well in the secondary market. I think this figure is probably going to be a figure that stays somewhere around $400 in the secondary market and then pushes as much as $500 at points, and maybe drops to as low as $350, just similar to what we saw with the Deluxe Homecoming one, as the Marvel overall market trends up and down. Cool, you get like this webbing thing. I would never display him with it, but I guess it's like a somewhat cool accessory. I would have liked to have seen them put their money into a different accessory, but I understand why they want to like do this, but I don't know anybody who actually displays them with that effect. Obviously you get the different eyes, but just like the red and black look is so cool and it's so fresh. And it's it's different enough from the other version. I think it warrants picking up this, even if you already have the, you know, the blue and red version. And like also like huge, similar to what we saw with the promo version, they fixed the creasing that happens on the ankle. So like with the Homecoming Deluxe version that I have, this ankle is like always creased, and it actually bothers me a lot. But it seems that they fixed that, and they've also fixed the stitching on the top of his mask, which is like two very, what might seem like minor, but I think are pretty major improvements for the figure. Taking a look at everything that he comes with, I love everything that he comes with. He comes with the Tom Holland head sculpt. That's huge. And we've seen how important that is for Spider-Man figures in the secondary market. A lot of people display their Spider-Man in that Tom Holland head sculpt. I know I switch it back all the time. So, you know, I love that they included that, and I wish they had done that with the homemade suit. But, you know, as long as we're getting one, this one, that's fine. You know, you get, and then like having him with the Tom Holland head sculpt and displaying him holding the Spider-Man mask is an awesome look that I actually have my Homecoming one in right now. You get like the glasses, and do not sleep on these glasses. These glasses, like you can probably sell these glasses for like $40 in the secondary market. It's ridiculous. So this is like a great accessory that they added, and one that for some reason always has a ton of demand. And that's gonna look so cool putting him glasses on with that head sculpt. Obviously you get the phone. I wish that there was some image on the phone. I don't know what it could be, like a call. I think it would have been funny to see like a calling image from Nick Fury. That would have been funny to display. I guess it's fun that it has nothing on it. I don't know if I'd ever display him with it, but it's a neat accessory. And then we get like the standard things we see with Spider-Man. Different eye sculpts, different webbing, different hand sculpts. And then you get the display base, which is not the hexagon display base. Thank God. I don't like the hexagon display base. I think this one looks a lot better, looks a lot more full, kind of fills off the shelf a little bit better. But overall, love this figure. Love this figure from a collection perspective. Love this figure from an investment perspective. I think that, you know, this is another excellent rendition of Spider-Man by Hot Toys, and one that you're not going to have any downside, and one that, you know, if ever Marvel comes back, and when Marvel comes back into the spotlight like it is right now, this is a great figure to lean in on your collection. If you want to, you know, trim some of the fat from your Marvel collection, you decide you don't really need this Spider-Man anymore. Anytime Spider-Man Hot Toys